Hello everyone, this is Shannon from That's So Po, and today I'm doing week 29 of my 2022 reads. This week was filled with some really excellent reads. I absolutely loved what I read this week. Timestamps and content warnings are in the description box below. First, I read The Black Panther Party by David F. Walker, illustrated by Marcus Kwame Anderson. This is a nonfiction graphic novel that I heard about from Cynthia at Book Whimsy, who I'll link below. And anytime Cynthia recommends a history book, since she is a historian whose taste I absolutely trust, I am very interested. This book was so fantastic. Basically, this provides an overview and a context and really nuanced understanding of the Black Panther Party. So it talks about what the circumstances were and what was happening in the US that led to, in the 1960s, the Black Panther Party being formed. It also talks about how many different Black Panther Party groups there were that ended up kind of being formed for similar reasons, and what this one in particular was trying to do. And this is the one that was formed in Oakland, the one that's really well known. It talks about all of the different leaders and important figures. It talks about many important events that happened. It talks about a lot of the complexities of what the party was trying to accomplish. It talks about many of the influences, things like this Black Panther Party was the one that introduced free school lunches, right? That's a huge impact on the way that a lot of things are run in the US today. There's so many great things that the Black Panther Party was doing, and also a lot of very problematic things as well. And this book just takes a very nuanced view and looks at what was going on and puts it all in context. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And the illustrations in this were amazing. I think that the graphic design in this was great. I think that the colors were wonderful. The drawings themselves were great. I loved just the way that each of the panels put together explored what was going on and gave you insight into that. This is a little bit text heavy, and I thought that that was actually really perfect. I loved the balance of illustrations to text because it gave the book room to actually explore a lot of these ideas, but each of the images I felt really added to the understanding of the text. It was absolutely fantastic. Really definitely recommend this if you have any interest in civil rights history. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and I hope that you guys will pick this up too if you haven't already. Next, I read a couple of 2022 releases, starting with Make, Sew, and Mend by Bernadette Banner. So this is a craft nonfiction book. Bernadette Banner is a big YouTuber who has a channel all about historical dress reconstruction. She does a lot of hand sewing, and she recently came out with this book, which is all about kind of intro to how to do hand sewing. And I was definitely interested. I love arts and crafts, so I picked this up, and it was really good. She did a great job in this, kind of talking about the tools that you need, about the methods, going into the various types of stitches. I actually even did kind of a little curtain alteration project based on some of the techniques in here. I got to try out like the felling stitch, which was so cool, and I've seen her talk about in her videos. The book itself is quite beautiful. I loved the images. I thought that they were really illustrative of the different stitches. There were a couple of kind of descriptions and pictures that weren't as clear as they could have been. Sometimes the pictures were a little small, or just the way that it was described, I wasn't 100% sure what exactly should be done. These weren't stitches that I tried out, so maybe I could have figured it out as I tried them. But other than that, I thought that this was a great intro to how to do hand sewing and how to do basic kind of mending. It talks about darning socks and all these sorts of things. So if you have any interest in doing some basic hand sewing, really great, really clear intro to this. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I would definitely recommend it. And lastly, I read Siren Queen by Nghi. This is a historical fantasy set in the 1930s in Hollywood, and we follow a Chinese American actress who is trying to break into the movies, who's trying to become a star. She's incredibly driven, and this version of LA is filled with all kinds of different magic, including quite a lot of demonic magic, and she's willing to make whatever bargains she needs to make in order to reach her stardom. This is such a fantastic fantastic book. I loved the writing. It's incredibly luscious and vivid. I loved the world building. It's very queer. It has great themes. And I just was thoroughly engaged in this. I really, really loved this. Nevo just hit it out of the park. And I have a standalone review for this coming up later on this week if you want more details. But really, I recommend this. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Definitely going to be one of my favorites of the year. Okay, so that is everything that I read this week. If you guys have read any of these, if you're interested in reading them, if you have any thoughts, or if you want to let me know what you've been reading this week, I'd love to hear from you. Just leave me a comment down below.